Kebbi schoolgirls' abduction, Senate praised recruitment of more personnel to tackle insecurity as community hopes for safe return.
We want the country to be safe for all Nigerians, and that is why they elected us here.
They should come to our aid and rescue these children.
Chaos as factions of the People's Democratic Party battle over leadership.
We are willing to lay down our lives to protect our office, to protect our democracy, to protect our mandate.
Plus, CBN celebrates 2 decades of shaping Nigeria's economy, targets single-digit inflation.
Core inflation has also begun to soften, suggesting that the cumulative impact of tight policy settings is transmitting through the economy.
Hello and welcome to the Network News on NTA. I am Elizabeth Omori. Benny Adams, a busy businessman, has some business reports for us. Benny?
Well, it's a period of the bears as it is the end of year. It's about profit taking, that is in Nigeria, and same for South African market. But in Tunisia, the story is different. We'll give you details in the course of the bulletin. Do stay tuned.
And Bade Adeleye is with sports. Bade.
Elizabeth, many wins coming the way of Nigeria in Saudi Arabia at the 2025 Islamic Solidarity Games. We'll tell you more when we get to sports.
Thank you, gentlemen. Don't forget to follow this newscast live on our website, nt.ng/live, NT News Now on X and other social handles displayed on the screen. Now the news. MAGA community in Kebbi State is still grappling with fear and uncertainty following the abduction of secondary school girls. The attack, which also claimed the life of the school's vice principal, leaves deep emotional scar on residents, especially parents of the abducted children, who now cling to hope for their safe return. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa reports.
The abduction of students from Government Day Comprehensive Secondary School MAGA in Kebbi State has thrown the entire community into deep sorrow and fear. Since the tragic incident, life in MAGA has come to a near standstill as families, neighbors and community leaders remain in shock.
Honestly, we are still in fear. Since yesterday, we could not sleep. May God come to our aid.
The wife of the deceased vice principal could not hide her pains, while parents of the abducted schoolgirls remain hopeful, yet deeply worried, clinging to prayers and any sign of good news.
I will forever remember my husband, especially the way he's taking care of me and my children.
We are calling on the state government to please offer scholarship for the children of my brother.
We are begging the state government and the federal government, please, they should come to our aid and rescue these children.
Community members gather to offer support to affected families as they anxiously await updates from security operatives. Security agencies, including the military, continue to comb suspected hideout in and around the areas as part of intensified search and rescue effort. Their presence in MAGA has provided a small measures to reassurance, but tensions remain high.
As the day passes, MAGA stands strong in grief, a community bonded by faith, pain, and a shared hope that its daughters will be rescued and return home safely. In MAGA of Dankuwa Sagu local government area of Kebbi State, Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa, NTA News.
And the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, has directed troops of Operation Fasten Yama to intensify efforts in securing the release of students abducted from Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, MAGA, Kebbi State. In a statement by the Information Officer, Operation Fasten Yama, Captain David Adewusi, the Chief of Army Staff issued the directive during an operational tour to the state. Addressing frontline commanders and troops, General Shaibu charged them to conduct intelligence-based operations and maintain relentless day and night pursuit of the abductors and engage local vigilantes and hunters to locate and eliminate their criminal elements. Similarly, the First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, says she is saddened by the news of the abduction of the 25 students of the Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School in Kebbi State and the tragic killing of the school's vice principal. The First Lady emphasized that the heartbreaking incident is not only an attack on innocent girls and dedicated educators, but an assault on the values of safety and learning that schools embody, noting that her heart and prayers are with families, friends, loved ones, and schoolmates at this time, praying Almighty God for quick rescue of the girls and Aljana Fidels for the vice principal. In the meantime, the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu calls on government agencies, civil society, parents, and other stakeholders to work together towards creating a protective environment where children can feel safe to thrive. This was part of a message marking the 2025 World Day for the Prevention and the Healing from Child Sexual Exploitation, Abuse and Violence, with the theme strengthening the protection of children against sexual exploitation and sexual abuse through evidence-based policy making. She says the theme is a reminder that protecting children and ensuring that they grow up free from fear and harm goes beyond words and good intentions, but demands informed actions guided by accurate data, research and sound policies. Meanwhile, the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu calls on wives of the new service chiefs to provide their husbands with needed support as they work hard to meet the expectations of their Commander-in-Chief and Nigerians in the fight against insecurity. This was during a courtesy visit by wives of the new service chiefs. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports.
A warm welcome, marking the beginning of a new chapter as wives of the new service chiefs formally meet the wife of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. The weight of the recent abduction of schoolgirls in Kebbi State was however heavy in the air as the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu led her guests to observe a minute silence for the vice principal of the school, Hassan Makuku, who was killed during the abduction.
May the soul of our dearly departed, may God grant him our journey.
She said the incident must serve as a reminder to our guests that they, along with their husbands, have stepped into a new role, one that demands sacrifice and support.
Right now, with the Kebbi situation, the security, the entire security apparatus must have been put in place to do all that work. Your husband signed in to protect lives at the expense of their own lives. So I want to commend them. God will continue to take care of them going out and coming into all of you. No evil will befall them.
Far away from the theaters of war, the First Lady says they have a lot to do, especially working with her to empower wives of fallen heroes, the elderly, and people with disabilities.
Because we know there are a lot of veterans that are old, and then they will need little financial assistance towards the Yuletide season. So we are going to do 250, but I expect that when we do that, you can also introduce that to your husbands so that you can begin to take care of the elderly amongst them. And for the people with disability, we're giving them 200,000 to start even a petty trade. So we are also doing 250 of those. So that will be about 100 million for the two programs.
We are grateful for the guidance and support we extend to families of the armed forces and security agencies. Ma'am, we are also grateful for the empowerment programs you have organized previously for the widows of security agencies.
At a separate meeting with the management of the Federal Safety Corps, their First Lady was decorated as the Grand Matron of Road Safety Special Marshal by the Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed. She appreciated the Corps for the recognition and immediately stepped into a new role by calling for adoption of more innovation and interagency collaboration to stem the number of crashes on the road.
The speed limit is very, very crucial, and people are supposed to adhere to it. We don't want to see lives lost, especially during this Yuletide season. You will need more personnel on the roads.
The Corps is commemorating this year's Crash Victims Day with a focus on crash reduction and hopes to leverage our office to drive road safety.
Going by that road, the Nigerian citizen will show that there is a political will and political commitment from the leadership of the country to support road safety cause, not only in Nigeria but globally. She's the one to canvass, she's the one to lead the championing the campaign on road safety.
An international conference attracting scholars is part of the commemoration. In the State House, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Reacting to the abduction of the 25 female students in Kebbi State, Senate has asked the armed forces to immediately recruit at least 100,000 personnel to confront the challenge of insecurity. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that Senate condemned the abduction and sympathized with families of victims.
This kind of terrorization of our students, our children, must stop.
It is time now that Nigerians, particularly Nigerians, must stand up against this impunity.
I am happy that Mr. President immediately took action by directing the military to go after these terrorists with a view to rescuing these girls.
This latest security breach was raised as plenary as a matter of urgent public importance. Lawmakers also recalled past efforts to tackle the menace and resolved to do an assessment.
What is wrong with the safe school program?
We probe the amount disbursed in the name of safe school program. How much was spent? Who collected the money? What did they do with it?
Create an ad hoc committee to investigate the Safe School initiative. Discuss with the governors forum, because most governors have not put in enough energy upon the kind of money they are receiving to pursue internal security.
We want the country to be safe for all Nigerians, and that is why they elected us here, to make laws, resolutions, and take steps to ensure that we, in line with our constitutional duties, that lives and properties are safe.
Senate observed a minute's silence to honor the vice principal killed in the Kebbi school attack and also mourned the killing of Brigadier General Uba alongside other personnel by insurgents this Monday in Borno State. Meanwhile, Senate has put on hold the proposed amendment to its standing orders due to some observations.
You want to nominate a principal officer of the Senate, use this ranking, which means people who are holding office now or who have held office before, as Senate President or Deputy Senate President or principal officers, automatically have an age over anybody who wants to contest for any office, no matter his experience, no matter his ranking.
Any senator desiring to amend part of the rules or adding any new clause shall give notice of such amendments in writing to the President of the Senate, giving details of the proposed amendments.
But we are engaging in an exercise in futility, unless we can have somebody moving for amendment of any section of the rules. Further discussion on this is suspended.
Two bills passed second reading, including bill that seeks to reenact Ministry of Finance Incorporated to make it modern and transparent. Senate has adjourned plenary to Tuesday, 21st November 2025, as it holds a Zonal Security Summit and retreat on Electoral Act. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And the Senate had a Committee on Security and Peace Building in the Northeast region has held a one-day security summit to find lasting solutions to the persistent security challenges confronting the region. The summit held at the multipurpose hall of the Government House in Maiduguri brought together key stakeholders. Mrojana Tuhassan reports.
The summit, with the theme strengthening Nigerian security architecture, addressing insecurity in the northeast and other parts of the country, which brought together key stakeholders, including members of the State Executive Council, senators, member House of Representatives and State Assembly, advisors, security operatives, politicians, government officials and other dignitaries, served as a platform for sharing ideas, evaluating current strategies and charting a unified path forward. Vice Chairman of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on National Security, Mohammed Tahir Manguno, stressed the importance of a collective response to the security situation in the Northeast.
What legislative intervention the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is going to make with a view to ameliorating the security situation that we have in the country.
We also engage in aggressive socio-economic interventions where we have prioritized the construction of destroyed communities.
Participants described the summit as a crucial step towards addressing Borno's persistent security challenges and called for continuous support to the government and security agencies in their efforts to secure and stabilize the state. In Maiduguri, Mirjana Hassan, NTA News.
This is the network news on NTA. Let's take a break. The news continues shortly. Thanks for staying with us. President Bola Tinubu will depart Abuja on Wednesday for a two-nation visit to Johannesburg, South Africa and Luanda, Angola. President Tinubu's first stop is Johannesburg, where he will attend the 20th summit of the G20 leaders. After the summit, he will proceed to Angola for the AU-EU summit. South African leader, who also serves as the current president of the G20 group, invited his Nigerian counterpart to participate in this year's edition. President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva of Brazil had, during his presidency of the group in 2024, equally invited President Tinubu to Rio de Janeiro. The summit scheduled to take place from Saturday, November 22 to Sunday, November 23 at the Johannesburg Expo Center will bring together leaders from the world's top 20 economies, including the EU, the African Union, and financial institutions, among others. At the conclusion of the G20 summit, the Nigerian president will join other heads of state and government from the African Union and the European Union for the 7th meeting of the two bodies, scheduled to take place from November 24 to 25th, 2025 in Luanda, Angola. President Tinubu will be accompanied by top government officials. Now, to economic stability, the federal government has restated Nigeria's readiness to do business with the rest of the world, saying ongoing reforms undertaken by the present administration across different sectors is opening new opportunities for investments. Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this when he received a delegation from the Advanced Energy Partners led by Chairman of the consortium, Senator Abu Ibrahim, on a courtesy visit to the presidential villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
A delegation of foreign investors at the State House, meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima, as he outlined the abundant resources and potentials across Nigeria, saying the Tinubu administration, through specific policies and interventions, is creating the enabling environment for the economy to grow and attract foreign direct investments.
And my boss, the present administration, had created the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. All the bureaucratic bottlenecks, the opaqueness that tends to define our petroleum industry has been eliminated. Now we have some of the best hands in the industry, manning leadership positions in the petroleum sector.
Leader of the delegation, Senator Abu Ibrahim, said the team was on ground in Nigeria to, among other things, explore major opportunities for investment in the upstream oil industry and sectors of the economy.
The strategy that your nation has done under the leadership of His Excellency the President and the Vice President has given more confidence into people like us, entrepreneurs, to come alongside with national Nigerian companies to make further entrepreneurship, advancements and investments into this great nation.
The team pledged to deepen cooperation and expand their operations in Nigeria, noting that the Tinubu administration has strengthened Nigeria's economic and bilateral ties with the United Arab Emirates, leading to non-oil trade between both countries amounting to $4.3 billion in 2024. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
In other news, the battle for the control of the leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, took a disturbing dimension as two factions of the National Working Committee clashed. Timothy Yusuf reports that it was a chaotic situation that was later brought under control by security operatives.
The Wadata Plaza headquarters of the PDP was this Tuesday the scene of a bitter confrontation when the leadership of the two factions of the PDP, the one loyal to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, the party's National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, on one hand, and the PDP governor's newly elected National Chairman, Kabiru Tanimu Turaki, on the other hand, both arrived at the party's National Secretariat in Wadata House.
Oh my God.
Governor Bala Mohammed, who doubles as the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and governor of Bauchi State, and Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo in the company of Turaki, arrived at the party's National Secretariat at about 10:45 a.m. with their supporters. Attempt by the policemen to prevent them from accessing the secretariat failed. The Abdurrahman Mohammed-led faction, backed by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, had earlier arrived at the National Secretariat of the PDP as early as few minutes past 8 a.m. They came in through the back entrance of the Wadata House and went straight to the office of the National Chairman of the party on the second floor.
Every time I go to have next meeting, we find security because a lot of people come around, so that pickpockets and all that. So it's already short for it.
We are willing to protect our office, to protect our democracy, to protect our mandate.
Our chairman has given explanation. We are not just here to cause trouble or this is our own place.
While the Bala Mohammed, Seyi Makinde, Tanimu Turaki and their supporters went into the National Executive Committee Hall with the intention of holding an inaugural meeting of National Working Committee, meeting with stakeholders, the other factions slated 2 meetings, NEC and BOT. After some time, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, arrived at the house. Shortly after the arrival of the FCT Minister, who remained in his vehicle for hours without coming out, Governors Bala Mohammed, Seyi Makinde, and their supporters who were on their way out staged a comeback into the National Secretariat. The atmosphere became charged again as the policeman on ground shot canisters of tear gas to disperse the crowd. The cameraman of the Nigerian Television Authority, Baba Mohammed, was beaten, injured, and camera broken while filming by security guards attached to Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State. The timely intervention of Governor Bala Mohammed, however, saved him from being lynched. Several others were also beaten. Turaki, in an interview with journalists, recounted the ordeal of his committee.
If we had not exercised restraint, if we had not controlled our members and our leaders, there would have been bloodshed here.
The FCT minister, however, left the PDP headquarters at about 2:09 p.m. on Tuesday. The Abdurrahman Mohammed-led faction subsequently followed, leaving the Turaki-led NWC behind. The two later left the secretariat, leaving behind a diminishing number of police personnel. The Abdurrahman Mohammed-led faction later issued a statement ratifying the expulsion of Governors Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, Seyi Makinde of Oyo, Dauda Lawal of Zamfara, Kabiru Tanimu Turaki, Ambassador Taufik Arakbaja, and some others. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Thank you, Timothy. Now, a bill seeking to reduce the age limit to 30 years for aspirants seeking election into the Senate and office of a governor has passed second reading in the House of Representatives. The Constitution Alteration Bill, sponsored by Representative Martins Essen, received overwhelming support in a voice note on the floor. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikmen reports.
The Constitution Alteration Bill seeking to reduce age qualification for election into the Senate and governorship seats is the brainchild of the House Committee on Youth Development, aimed at improving on the existing Not Too Young to Run Act to bring more youths into the country's governance structures. The proposal is to lower the age requirement for senators from 35 to 30 years and that of governors from 40 to 30 years.
If a member of this House at 25 years spends 2 terms in the House of Representatives, he will be 33 years and he will still not be qualified to go to the Senate or to become a governor. So I think that this Honorable House should look into it.
Several bills to establish education and health institutions also scaled second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the Federal Colleges of Education Act Cap F8 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 to provide for the establishment of Federal Technical College Nasarawa Burkulu Zamfara State, and for related matters.
Lawmakers expressed concern that delay in drilling the Obi oil well in Nasarawa State is affecting potential income and economic growth for the state and the nation.
Urge the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited to speed up the drilling of oil in Obi local government area of Nasarawa State. Mandate the Committee on Petroleum Resources upstream to ensure compliance.
Lawmakers also raised concern over escalating insecurity in Zamfara State.
Call on the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to explore a new strategy to end these killings and activities in Zamfara State and Nigeria at large.
Away from plenary, the House has thrown its weight behind the federal government's efforts to mitigate the spread of cervical cancer in the country through a nationwide rollout of HPV testing.
About 60.5 million Nigerian women are at risk of cervical cancer. The strategic planning and everything has been concluded towards reaching this number as much as we can.
The National Assembly is proud to identify with the fight against cancer.
The National Task Force on Cervical Cancer Elimination says it has secured a 1 billion naira donation from Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, to support the nationwide screening exercise. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikwe, NTA News.
Founder and executive chairman of Boa Group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, in company of the group executive director of Boa Group, Kabiru Rabiu, received a high delegation of the Arewa Consultative Forum at the Boa Group headquarters in Lagos. The delegation, led by chairman of the forum, Bashir Dalhatu, was accompanied by other high-ranking members. During the visit, the forum presented its activities from inception to date, highlighting upcoming 25th anniversary activities and a formal invitation to Abdul Samad Rabiu, founder of Boa Group, to chair the fundraising event as a revered northern statesman. Abdul Samad Rabiu, on his part, expressed deep appreciation for the visit and affirmed his commitment to supporting the forum's important initiatives and its mission of fostering development across the region. He also commended the forum for the confidence reposed in him and its acknowledgement of his various philanthropic initiatives across the region. Time to take another break. To stay with us.
Central Planning Committee among Victor Atabuklong cordially invites friends associated to the presentation of the Bible
of all the faithful departed. Through the mercy of God, rest in peace with the Lord. Amen. And now, sir, Lawal Bashir, son for the family.
Glad to know you're still there. Journalists, Kannyhood personalities and digital creators in Kano converged to spotlight major developmental projects that are transforming communities across northern Nigeria. Discussions centered on how federal initiatives under President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda are accelerating growth in the region. Awal Salisu reports.
Gathered in this hall are Kannywood stars, journalists and social media influencers from Kano, with a shared purpose to highlight the development strides recorded under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration in northern Nigeria. Since taking office, President Tinubu has introduced a range of initiatives aimed at addressing long-standing infrastructural and social challenges nationwide. In the north, these efforts are becoming increasingly evident. From rehabilitated highways and revitalized railway corridors, youth empowerment schemes, and social intervention programs, progress is steadily taking shape through sustained federal government support.
Dualization of the Sokoto, Zamfara, Zaria in Kaduna State Superhighway, which is 263 kilometers by 2, that is 926 kilometers, which will improve travel and trade and connectivity among the mentioned states.
The Kano gathering provided a platform to review, monitor and showcase both completed and ongoing projects, interventions that are stimulating economic growth and improving livelihoods across northern communities. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
Time to talk business, and our busy businessman Benny is ready.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Now, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, says Nigeria and the African continent are taking decisive steps to strengthen value addition, regional collaboration, and sustainable growth in the gemstones and gold value chain. Alake stated this at a news conference in Abuja ahead of the 4th African Gems and Jewelry Exhibition, as well as the conference and the Gold and Gemstone Conference and Exhibition scheduled to hold in Lagos.
You know, when you travel abroad, especially the Asian countries, you know, in China, Thailand, and all of other places, you find all these gemstones and beads. And when you ask them where they got them, they say Nigeria, Nigeria, Nigeria. So that really is a very cogent reason for us to give maximum support to women in mining, especially in promotion of gemstones in Nigeria.
Beyond value addition, this is branding. God only knows how much the diamond on a Cartier ring costs at the beginning of the cutting and the polishing, and by the time it ends up on that Cartier ring in a beautiful stand, it's about branding. We're branding Nigeria. We have a comparative advantage with gold and gemstones.
Moving on, the Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Shamsuddin Ogunjimi, says the Treasury is committed to building trust, ensuring effective use of resources towards achieving project development objectives. This is as the World Bank has commenced the rollout of its funds chain system for 6 projects. It is a blockchain-based platform designed to enhance transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the management of development project funds. Ogunjimi emphasized that all project coordinators, accountants, heads of project financial management units, and other relevant stakeholders are encouraged to use the new system manual for their implementation to minimize infractions, improve performance, and sustain favorable rating with the World Bank. The AGF also disclosed the Treasury and the World Bank have agreed that project financial management staff will not be removed 6 months before the closure of the project in order to guide against lapsed loans and undocumented advances. Now, looking at the market at this time, today's market presents a mixed yet a predominantly bearish picture across key African exchanges, with Tunisia standing out as the day's surprising winner. Nigeria's all-share index fell by 0.12% to close at 144,986.15 basis points, primarily fueled by profit-taking in major banking and consumer goods stocks, including Zenith Bank, among others. South Africa's JSE Top 40 experienced a more significant drop, reflecting a broader risk-off sentiment in the market, while Tunisia's index recorded a healthy gain, demonstrating a strong investor confidence. That is it on business at this time. Elizabeth, take it from here.
Thank you so much, Benny, for the updates. And still on economic matters, 2 decades of shaping Nigeria's economy, and the results are clear. At its 20th anniversary colloquium in Abuja, the CBN's Monetary Policy Department celebrated easing inflation at 16.05%, stronger foreign reserves, and renewed confidence in the Naira. Musa Abubakar brings us details.
For 20 years, the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Department has stood at the heart of Nigeria's economic stability, guiding decisions, shaping outcomes, and strengthening confidence in the nation's financial system. Today, at its 20th anniversary colloquium, stakeholders gathered to reflect on a remarkable journey under the theme Monetary Policy in Nigeria, Past, Present, and Future.
Core inflation has also begun to soften, suggesting that the cumulative impact of tight policy settings is transmitting through the economy.
The past tells a story of bold ideas, from inflation targeting to exchange rate reforms. The present is defined by innovation, data-driven decisions, digital tools, and forward-looking strategies to keep Nigeria's economy on track.
With the strengthening of policy communication framework, NPD has been instrumental in shaping Nigeria's transition from direct control to a market-based monetary policy regime.
There has to be, a unique or integrated policy framework whereby the CBN will deliver on its mandate, but other policies will have to come and support.
And today, the results are tangible. Nigeria has recorded a remarkable deceleration in inflation for 7 consecutive months, signaling that central banks' policies are steadily restoring price stability. In Abuja, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
Let's shift attention to COP30, where Nigeria is calling for urgent global support as the country confronts worsening climate impacts. Speaking on behalf of President Bola Tinubu at a session, Environment Minister Balarabe Abbas Lawal outlined key climate actions Nigeria is pursuing, while urging developed nations to deliver the long-promised $1 billion in climate finance and advance the pathway to $1.3 trillion annually until 2030. Charles Alpha reports.
One after the other, countries delivered their statements, telling the world the truth with intent on how they want to deliver tangible results. For President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by the Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawal, it was a moment of global cooperation and strengthened support from the international community. He highlighted key progress made at home, including the submission of its enhanced third nationally determined contributions, NDC 3.0, the first in West Africa, a document which he said aligns with national development priorities and focuses on adaptation, energy access, emission reduction, and nature-based solutions.
To confront this, Nigeria is implementing decisive, coordinated measures to mitigate the impact of climate change within the country. We recognize the critical importance of well-structured climate finance alongside technology transfer and capacity building in attaining sustainable development.
The minister also noted that Nigeria is expanding protected areas, integrating climate resilience into its national development plan, and issuing its third sovereign green bond to drive green infrastructure and environmental restoration programs. Nigeria also emphasized its newly operational national carbon market framework, the Nigeria Farmers Soil Health Scheme, and the livestock growth acceleration strategy to reduce methane emissions.
Nigeria advocates for measurable indicators and dedicated financing to strengthen water sanitation resilience under global goal adaptation.
He called on developed nations to honor the long-standing $100 billion annual climate finance pledge, stressing that developing countries cannot scale adaptation and mitigation efforts without predictable funding. In another engagement at the Nigerian pavilion, the minister tasked delegates on delivering tangible results at COP30 for Nigeria. In Belém, Brazil, Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Thank you, Charles. Let's take our last break.
Food sufficiency and stimulus for sustainability with inflationary pressure on cost of production. NTA Tuesday Live comes...
You're still watching the network news. President Bola Tinubu congratulates Adeboyega Adefarati, lawmaker representing Akoko South East and Southwest Federal Constituency of Ondo State, on his 60th birthday, November 19. President Tinubu describes the legislator as a patriotic Nigerian whose decades of service as a teacher and banker, combined with his political acumen, have contributed significantly to national development and democratic consolidation. The president wishes the celebrant renewed strength, good health, and greater accomplishments in the years ahead. Our next is sports update with Badi. Badi.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Let's begin from Saudi Arabia, where Shade Olatoye on Tuesday claimed silver in the women's hammer throw at the 2025 Islamic Solidarity Games after leading the competition onto the 5th round, where she was overtaken by Algeria's Tata Zara as the Nigerian fouled in their last 2 attempts in Riyadh. Meanwhile, Nigeria's duo of Chioma Nweke and Iyanoluwa Bada finished 5th and 7th in the women's 100 meters at the Games. The former registered 11.69 seconds, while the latter clocked 11.81 seconds. To football now. Super League champions Galatasaray are still awaiting the arrival of star forward Victor Osimhen in Istanbul after the Nigerian striker sustained a hamstring injury during the 2026 FIFA World Cup playoff against DR Congo on Sunday night. Osimhen picked up the injury at the first half at the Crown Prince Moulay Hassan Stadium and was substituted at halftime, with Akwa Adams coming in his place. Reports claim Osimhen is expected to arrive in Istanbul on Sunday, where Galatasaray's medical team will conduct a thorough assessment. The forward is scheduled to undergo an MRI scan immediately upon arrival to determine the severity of his hamstring injury and outline a recovery plan. Now, the Trump administration has announced a new fast-track system to help international fans enter the United States for next year's World Cup. The initiative, called FIFA Pass, will allow travelers who have purchased official FIFA match tickets to receive expedited visa interview appointments, aiming to ease entry for millions of expected visitors while maintaining the administration's tough stance on immigration. FIFA President Gianni Infantino welcomed the initiative, saying the FIFA Pass will ensure legitimate fans can travel in the best conditions. Finally, to tennis, Carlos Alcaraz says he's heartbroken after withdrawing from Spain's Davis Cup finals team because of injury. The 22-year-old world #1, who was beaten by Yannick Sinner at the ATP finals on Sunday, says he has been advised not to compete because of swelling in his right hamstring. Spain faced the Czech Republic in the Davis Cup quarterfinals in Bologna, Italy, on Thursday. And that does it on Sports Tonight. Let's return to Elizabeth.
Thank you, Buddy. President Bola Tinubu expresses deep grief over the passing of Chief Dan Agbese, a veteran journalist, author and co-founder of the trailblazing Newswatch News weekly magazine. Agbese, who was the Awa Orton of Aguila town in Ado local government area of Benue State, died at the age of 81 in Lagos. President Tinubu describes his death as a painful and profound loss to Nigeria's media industry and the country as a whole. And the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has expressed deep sadness over the passing of Mr. Dan Agbese, a foundational pillar of Nigeria's contemporary journalism and a tireless advocate for a free press. In a statement, the minister described Agbese as a titan of truth whose legacy formed the foundation of enlightened public discourse by co-founding the trailblazing Newswatch magazine, which became a defining institution in Nigeria. He added that Agbese's passing comes at a time when the Tinubu administration is deeply committed to fostering the very principles he fought for: an expanded democratic space, robust citizen engagement, and free speech. In the same vein, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, described the passing of veteran journalist Chief Dan Agbese as a monumental loss to Nigeria's journalism family and to all who value truth, integrity, and courageous storytelling. In a condolence message, Akpabio expressed profound sorrow over the departure of the media icon, whose pen never wavered in defense of public interest, extending his deepest condolences to the Agbese family and entire media community. Now, the death has been announced of Deacon Collins Atohegbe, a former Deputy Director of Programs, Voice of Nigeria, Lagos office, who before his retirement served in Kiswahili and later as Bureau Chief of Vaughan, Pretoria, South Africa. A statement by the Director of News, Vaughan, says our service of songs will hold tomorrow, November 19, at the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Triumphant Assembly Redemption City of God, along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Mowe, Ogun State, while the burial is scheduled for Saturday, 22 November at Oke Irue Ohunwode, local government area of Edo State, by 12 noon. He is survived by his wife, Funke Atohegbe, who is the current Director Training, Voice of Nigeria, son Joshua, brothers and sisters. And that's the news. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.